name is Dillon Hales. I own and operate a company called Yeti Welding. At Yeti Welding, we specialize in in-field solutions dealing with metal. We like to consider ourselves specialty installers. So we do a lot of intricate metal works outside the shop and in the field where things need to be done. In Yeti Welding, I've invested a lot of time into the times or technology, and as we've adapted technologies, a lot of our competitors haven't, and I've felt that every time that we've adapted to technology, it's been able to give us an upper leg in the construction industry, because a lot of the generals and things that we're working with directly are adapting to technology. We're adapting in all kinds of ways, whether it be machinery, CNC machinery, or even time tracking software. We ourselves are trying our best to adapt as fast as we can, because welding is not always futuristic. The three things that are most important with WorkMax that we use on a day-to-day basis are, first and foremost, their time tracking for the employees to track their time. And I think it's important because I want to pay my employees as much as possible, but I also want to pay them for their efforts. And so that time is really important. We've also started to integrate more about the forms and reports in WorkMax. WorkMax is, it's something that is talked about every single day, and it's a foundation that we use on a daily. It's at the toolbox meeting. Everybody's making sure that you clocked in. When we're talking about safety during that toolbox meeting, somehow WorkMax is at the forefront of it. So. WorkMax gives us an increase of visibility into our company, because it shows us exactly what's happening, whether we're with our employees or whether we're not, and most especially where we're not with our employees on a day-to-day basis. It gives us that visibility to see, one, where our employees and our assets are. It gives us the ability to know where we have been winning and where we have been losing as far as profitability. And then one thing I really like about the visibility of WorkMax is it allows us to know exactly at the end of a project where we need to be for our next project. I'm always concerned about the unknowns of the next project, but with the visibility of WorkMax, we're able to really see and know where we were on that previous, so that we can plan for the future more. Some hurdles, I think everybody goes through the same hurdles, is employee would turn in some hours and you're like, there's no way you had that many hours. How did you? And they're like, I clocked in, or I tracked my hours on the way that you told me. And so that was one big hurdle that we were able to jump and quickly and effectively take care of with WorkMax. Because of the way that WorkMax works, when you clock in and clock out, we were able to know why certain employees had more hours or less hours, and that was able to quickly help us solve a solution to a problem that is kind of a touchy subject sometimes to some people, but that was one big hurdle that I really have enjoyed, and WorkMax is great for that. The challenges of collecting the data so poorly made my job as an employer to process payroll absurdly hard, because Friday night I couldn't spend time with my family because I was texting my employees, calling my employees, I need your hours, and they were, doing what they do, and they didn't want to talk to the boss on a Friday night, and so it was giving me those kind of like, I was working my Friday nights or all day Saturday just trying to collect this data, and it was just a waste of my time. And now data can be collected in, 35, 40 seconds. It takes me to log into WorkMax, and boom, it's done. And it was creating a lot of The challenges were more on my end, where I needed to make sure that my employees were paid. It was just creating more time backed up for me. Our WorkMax on a day-to-day, at the very end of the work week, we use the hours and the data collected in WorkMax, and we send it to the payroll company, and they're able to get my employees paid properly with their exact amount of hours, and not even just a rounded amount. It's really accurate. And so it's actually helped us integrating WorkMax into our payroll, that and it's paperless, and I really enjoy that. We have run into a lot of issues with billing previous to WorkMax, because again, our data wasn't really collected. It was, hey, how many hours did you have on the Johnson's project? And how many hours did you have on the Abbott's project? And it was like, well, I think I had this many. But with WorkMax, it was like, click, click. This is exactly how many hours we had, and this is how we're going to bill it. And, one, it gave us that accurate amount for our customer, which they always got a better deal with WorkMax, by the way. And two, we were actually able to get that number so fast. So billing issues are easily taken care of, especially because we're a service only business, and we're not a product. So it's not like we sold this many products. This is how much service we sold. I think what surprises most people when they hear that Yeti Welding is using this kind of product is that we're a small company and we're not a big company. But tracking all of the data effectively makes us work like we're a company of 20 employees because we have the data. Little companies, when they jump onto something like this, can make that growth from a little to a medium to large. And that's our hopes is, we might be small now, but we're planning for the future through collecting our data. So we don't have to wait for that. We're large now. Now we need a software. We have this, we know it, and it can grow with us. I was expecting complaints from employees and complaints about the software, but I would say it only took them 2 days. And after those 2 days, I never heard a word from them. The only thing that I would say that I heard from my employees was that they wish they would have done it sooner, that I would have done it sooner for my employees. My employees were able to pick it up quickly, but they also realized how much time that they themselves were wasting by just, it seems silly, but they were spending so much time just typing it out on their phone in the notes section that they were happy that we had a software like this to make it as easy of a push of a button for them to track their time. Yeah, I think I've prioritized investing in new technologies this way, new tools, new equipment. It is a risk to prioritize this stuff, but I think without prioritizing it right now, you're going to not have as competitive edge in a time where if you're not competitive, you're getting left behind. Things are changing so fast right now that when you're not competitive, you're not competing. And if you're not taking those risks, you're not going to be able to keep up with fast pace. And I think I've been able to do it a little bit, but I always have room for growth. And WorkMax has helped us to step up to that. And I wouldn't say that WorkMax was a risk taking it. It seemed like a risk when you saw, the cost that it would cost, but taking the cost out of it, WorkMax is definitely not a risk. It's more of an insurance policy to my employee.